Okay, so in the last video, we found that tan theta is 1 over root 3. We used the Pythagorean theorem to figure out the unknown side. And yes, indeed, tan is equals to opposite over adjacent, or 1 over root 3, which is also, if you rationalize it, root 3 over 3. Now let's focus on this very interesting angle, B. Angle B is talking about theta. This is angle B, and you can see it because we're really focused on this angle here. So what is angle B? Angle B is equals to theta. So we need to focus on finding theta. So let's copy this over here and focus on finding theta. So tan theta is equals to 1 over root 3. And unfortunately, we cannot divide both sides by 10 to find theta. To find this magical golden egg, this is not tan times theta. This is tan of theta. This is a function. So there's something magical that we have to do to reveal this golden egg. As a fair Canadian judge, we're going to take the tan inverse of both sides. So we're going to take the tan inverse of the left side, and we're going to take the tan inverse of the right side, which is 1 over root 3. So what is the left side? The left side happens to be tan theta, this part here. So what we have now here is tan inverse is the inverse function, and tan is the original function. And you'll learn in a later course that a function and its inverse, they undo each other. This is like hot, and this is like cold, and they cancel out. Tan is like matter, tan inverse is like antimatter, and it disappears. And what do we have? We have theta. So theta is equals to tan inverse of 1 over root 3. So in future classes, people forget what we're even doing. So I'm okay if you skip this step altogether and realize that in order to find the angle, you just have to find the button on your calculator. And the button is related to this function here. When you have tan, you hit tan inverse and you get the actual angle. So try to find this on your calculator right now. You might have to press second or shift. If you have a decent calculator, you just type in tan inverse 1 divided by root 3 and you get the answer right away. And make sure that you're in degree mode, not radian mode. It's very important that you're in the correct unit. If you're talking about feet or meters or inches, we're talking about different things. In the same way, degrees is connected to radians, but right now for this grade, we're focusing only in degree mode. Assuming that you're in degree mode, you can now evaluate what tan inverse 1/3 is. So by the way, you know that you're in the correct mode if you punch in sine 30. Sine 30, if assuming that you're in degree mode, should be 1/2 or 0.5. So assuming that you're in the correct mode, hit tan inverse of 1/3 in your calculator and let's see what we get. So on my calculator, when I hit tan inverse of 1 over root 3, I get 30 degrees exactly. So this is the correct answer. And by the way, if you're using an iPhone or some other cheap calculator app, you might have to get to know your calculator and punch this in first. 1 divided by root 3 equals some number, and then press the second or shift tan inverse button. But please pay attention to this little symbol here. We're not doing the tan, we're finding the tan inverse. And this has nothing to do with exponents. This is simply a function. Tan inverse is the inverse function of tan. Alright, so we now have the power to figure out this angle. And it happens to be 30 degrees. Now let's solve angle CAB. What is angle CAB? Angle CAB, it's about connecting the dots. C connected to A connected to B generates this angle here. So this is the unknown angle. Now the fastest way to solve this is we have 30 here. We have 90 here. This represents 90 degrees, this little square kind of corner. And so we know that the three angles in a triangle adds up to 180. So I'll call this angle A. So A plus 30 plus 90, all these angles is equals to 180. You can call this angle A, you can call it angle A with little switch there. You can even call this angle CAB or BAC, all the same thing, but I think A is really nice. So what is A? A happens to be 180. 90 plus 30 is 120. When you throw 120 over, you get minus 120. So angle A is simply 60 degrees. So we figured out that angle A is 60 degrees. Now let's try one more time to figure out angle A some other way. Why don't we randomly ask, and let's call this alpha, and we're going to focus on alpha. And why don't we say, what is adjacent hypotenuse? Let's talk about cosine alpha. Cosine alpha or cosine A, doesn't really matter, same thing. We know that cosine A is equals to adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 1 over 2. How do we reveal, so let me just clean this up here a little bit. This is supposed to be cosine. How do we reveal this golden egg, the angle A? Yes, we simply take the trig inverse of both sides. So A is equals to the cosine inverse of 1/2, which happens to be 60 degrees. So in conclusion, there's different ways to find the angle, whether you're adding 3 angles to be 180 or whether you're taking the trig inverse. But from now on, whenever you see some inverse trig notation, remember that if you draw a triangle and you think SOH CAH TOA, this represents an angle.